Prepare for a fusion of knowledge and exhilaration where education and excitement collide.
Taking you on an adventure that expands your mind and speaks to your spirit.
I'm Master Nick.
I'm Lady Dee.
We are the Dom Life.
This podcast contains sexually explicit topics and adult content.
It is intended for listeners 18 and older.
The opinions expressed in this podcast are ours alone, based on our personal thoughts, feelings, and experiences.
We understand that others may have different opinions and experiences, and we respect that. We would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us at www.thedomlife.com.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Yay.
We are ready for another episode. But before we get into our episode,
Yes.
let's talk about our Friday night adventure out to Club Tempted.
Yes.
We had our Fetish Friday, and Ex Libras
And
put on,
good friends, Zora and Dante.
they put on a wax demonstration, which went phenomenally. It
Yes.
was a wonderful artistic side to wax. They had a model laying down with Sir Dante doing a album cover.
Yes. With wax.
With wax. So he took, you've seen little paint scrapers that he used to make his lines. He used different colors and wax that was all sitting there that was melted. And he started off, and of course, you're wondering, what is it he's making? You're watching him as he's doing it. You're trying to figure out what it is, but it took almost for him to be completely done with it before some people was able to get it. But he did the album cover of Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
Yes.
And
it looked awesome.
It did. It looked
One of
really
the
good.
things that was really cool is they figured out a good way to melt wax
Yes.
in larger quantities where you can have multiple colors laid out
Exactly.
on a pad.
Exactly.
And each of them they had pre-made. They brought them in, and the colors were already, this was their mixture. They were having
Right.
some issues with the different kinds that were out there. Now, we haven't felt it yet, but we plan to in the near future.
Yes, we are.
But until then, we'll just go with what they said. It wasn't too hot. It's
Right.
not too, it doesn't cool too much. It feels good when it hits.
Right. And it's easy to scrape off afterwards too, which is another huge thing. When you play with wax, of course, the first thing, but the only thing that comes to mind is how hot is it going to be? You don't want it too hot to burn the skin. And what people don't really look for when first time playing with wax is the mess that it makes afterwards and the residue that is left on your skin afterwards and trying to get that off. So the fact that they've been playing around with mixtures and they have come up with their own special, unique blend that they use.
Plus, they get to make their own colors.
Right.
Because they pick out the coloring as
Yep.
well. And so you can
It-
actually have a lot of different colors.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't cost you each and every candle or
Right.
color because they're just getting the coloring and
Right.
added
They
to
add their own color. But it was, again, Sir Dante, Zora, excellent job with the wax demonstration. For people that was there, really seemed to enjoy it. Afterwards, they did let people come up to do the scraping of the wax off of the model.
Yes.
And then they also let Zora lay down in case somebody wanted to put wax on her. So it was a great demonstration. I love the Fetish Fridays. If you're interested in Club Tempted, check them out on the internet. Sign up. Check out a Fetish Friday. It's usually the third
Yes.
Friday of the month. They try to do some kind of fetish discussion or demonstration or interactive version, depending on who's putting it on. But definitely something to check out. And then, of course, while we was there,
All of our friends came,
yes,
including Bear.
yes,
And so I got
you
my
finally got your flogger.
flogger, the one that I had custom made that's made for my hand,
Yep.
in the purple. And it is amazing.
Yep.
I got to use it on Friday night as well. And I spent the whole night just really enjoying myself with
Yep.
my floggers. Well, while we were there, he had brought his whole bag, and you could see how heavy it was of stuff that he had made. And
Yes.
I said, pull it out, put it on our table.
Yep.
At which point he did.
And at which point several of them sold.
It cost me more money because I could not pass up this like kind of rose gold patterned flogger that's a lot shorter, a lot lighter weight because it's got bite.
Right.
So I've got my big heavy one that's all thud, and I've got some other bitey ones, but the quality of workmanship on these with the handle and everything are
Yes.
pretty amazing. And I really like the way this one hits.
Right.
So I got another one. And then what happened, Master Nick?
Yeah, I found one that I liked as well. So, of course, I had to purchase mine. I don't have mine. I didn't get mine out of my Dom box, but
I had to just
yeah.
because we talked about it on his episode.
Yes.
And I just wanted everybody to see how amazing. You can tell how thick it is. He said this one's 3 pounds.
Okay.
So I
can't remember. I've weighed mine before when I had Love Leather and Lace making my custom UV reactive ones. I had weighed mine then. The lightest one that I really like using and the heaviest one of Bear's that I really like using. And I wanted these custom ones, the other custom ones, to be kind of in the middle. So I can't remember how much mine weighed, but I'm wanting to think it was closer to 4 or 5 pounds.
I think it's 5 pounds.
I
think
around
that's what he
5.
was saying or we were talking
Yep.
about. But I love it.
Yes.
It's very easy to swing.
Yes.
It hits nicely and it makes a wonderful noise.
It
You can
does.
hear the thud versus this one where it's all bite.
Yep.
And I enjoyed Friday night so much
Friday night
using
was a lot of
my
fun.
new stuff.
Yep. Friday night was a lot of fun. So check him out again, bearsdengifts.com or whatever on Etsy, Bears Den Gifts. Search him. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him on Etsy. Check out his store. He makes wonderful floggers. All right, Lady D. So the moment we've been talking about for a very long time, contract renegotiation. We have had our contract about around 5 years now.
Yes, sir.
It was the first contract I'd ever made. It was the first contract you had ever made.
And we were pleasantly surprised
We
at how
were.
much we continue because we put it away because life just got really crazy. We
Yes.
put it up, but we still followed so much of
And we
it.
did. And going back, for this episode, the renegotiations, I've looked at it for the last couple of weeks. I know you've looked over it and looked at it for the last couple of weeks. And I'm not going to lie. One thing that I have come to realize is I don't think there's a lot that needs to come off of it.
I agree.
I don't think there is some things that need to be reworded, restated. There is a couple of things that I think we can completely remove
Okay.
and do without. And I do have a few more to add to it.
Okay.
We've had some friends to share some of their old contracts. We have, used Google. We have done some things, and a couple of the things that I had in mind, I've actually found in one of our friends' old contracts. I don't want to use the same wording,
Right.
but it was an idea I had in my head, but not for sure the direction to take on it. But after reading what they had in theirs, I'm like, okay, yes, that is the direction I was wanting to go in. So we will discuss and talk and run through ours real quick. Some of our contract may get left out of the episode because there may be some personal or more private things that we want to keep to us. So this will not be our full contract, but it will kind of give you an idea of setting down, renegotiating, making sure you follow what is still in there, making sure you're willing to follow what is still in there, and a good time to make changes, to make edits, to make deletions, or to add new things.
And to discuss the existing things, just to have a conversation about it, because sometimes things fail because one or the other partner has a hard time doing it.
Right.
And then once you let it slide once or twice, then it becomes
a habit.
It becomes a habit. It gets removed for no good reason, for something that might need to stay. And I feel like when it comes to the contract, which is, it's a little crazy, but I feel like my role in creating a contract is not to create the contract. I feel like that's Master Nick's role. His role is to create it. Mine is to counter those things that he created and either say, yes, I can do this. No, I can't do it. And here's my expectations for you.
Right.
So if you come up with something in your renegotiation that I may not like, I may then come back to you and say, I will do this because you've requested it. But my concession is I'm going to ask for this because I'd like this in my life. So it's been really strange because while I've reviewed, our friends that I've asked for their old contracts and I've reviewed our contract, I did not plan this episode the way I normally do. Normally we have bullet points. We're all prepared.
Yep.
We go off course a lot, but then we bring it back together. And that's why we always have tablets and computers in front of us because we're truly working off of some kind of a flow because we don't want to go off on a massive tangent and then forget everything we were going to talk about.
Right.
But this episode, I only put the contract back in there. I didn't do any of the normal things that I do to keep it's just the contract.
It's there and I've got it pulled up. However, I've used
stuff.
My paper copy and have made changes and written rights on it. I have written on it.
Yes.
That's the correct English.
That is the correct English. What did you say?
I not have a clue. And
I not have a clue.
I can't talk today. So if this part doesn't get edited out, no, I'm not high. I don't do that shit. No, I'm not drunk. I haven't had a drink since Friday. My mind just isn't quite as clear as it should be.
That's what happens when you go out till 4 a.m. on a night that you were planning to be home early.
Way earlier. All right. So we have read over this.
We have.
But I think it would be good just to run over everything again. We are renegotiating. That way, if there's any concerns or changes you would like, that would be the good time to make it.
Okay.
Now, I will say some of the things that I want to add. I have the category where they go, and there's some that I don't know where it's going to fit in at, but it's something that I would like to add.
Okay.
All right. So for under the general, you will always address me as master or sir, especially when in public.
Okay.
Now, I know you have mentioned husband.
Uh-huh.
And I'm okay with that, but I would prefer that to be more outside of the kink community.
Yeah, most of the time at the club, I call you sir or master.
Okay, you have done husband a few times, but and I understand why, and I totally get it why.
Uh-huh.
You may get a look, and I may have you to correct it.
Okay.
But I'm not going to punish again.
Okay, we'll just drop it. I just won't say husband anymore. I'm okay with it too. It'll be sir or master.
And reason being, I'm going to say this, reason being, I was going to stick to master or sir until you said what you said.
I said it doesn't matter. I will just call you sir or master.
All right. So at master's command, you'll remove all your clothing in the way you've been taught regardless of location. I do like that. I'm going to keep that. When clothing is removed upon command, it must be folded neatly and placed in a small pile. I think we can get rid of that.
Yeah, we can't do that because when we're at the club, it has to go
Right.
up. It has to get put into
And
a bag.
My mindset then was different now. I don't care if it's in a pile. I don't care if it's slung on a fan. I don't care if it's thrown across the room. So we will remove that one just completely. You will learn all the position master provides you to the best of your abilities, and will be prepared to assume positions and display yourself in a manner through them that he will find most pleasing. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to find what we used for our hand signals and stuff. Would like to get into using those again. You are always in submission to master, whether he is present or not, ready to please him any time, under any circumstances, regardless of location or individuals nearby. You do that regardless. I mean, you've always done that. We'll leave it in there. No changes to it. Moving to communication. So you will send a note to master every morning when he is working. So that changed there. You must ask permission before making any plans for yourself, for master, or for yourself and master. You've always done that. That will stay. You'll let me know when you have to leave the house. You let me know when you're running errands. You already do that. That will stay. And we're going to keep the next one in as well. But we're going to try to make it work. You will ask permission to speak freely. Instead of just speaking your mind, you will say, may I speak my mind? Or so I would like to stick with that. You have a look of concern on your face.
Okay.
I want to know your concern.
No, sir. Keep going.
If you are concerned that you will deviate from an expectation or task, you are to inform master at once, preferably before deviating. Number 12, you respond to text messages from master in a reasonable amount of time or provide a legitimate reason why it took so long to answer. Again, the state of mind I was in when we made this, I feel that can come out.
I don't mind it in, to be honest, because it keeps me aware. So if it goes longer, I should probably say why I didn't. And I usually do. It's like,
You
hey,
usually
my
do,
boss
right.
was standing by my desk. Because the biggest time is at work is the time. And that's the only time we're not together, basically.
Right.
But when I'm at work, my phone is with me all the time.
Yep.
But if my boss is sitting at my desk, I'm not going to disrespect my work by picking up my phone and looking at it
Right.
while he's talking to me about something. So usually as soon as he walks away,
Okay.
I will then pull it up and look at it. But I definitely think it's a good one to keep in just because
Just to keep
if
in
I'm out
check.
with
Okay.
friends or whatever, I
And
don't
I'm-
want you ever
I'm fi-
worried
And
if
I'm
you
fine
send a
with
message.
it. No, if I'm worried, I'm calling your ass.
Right.
You know.
Not that we've ever gotten there anyways.
Okay. All right. So looking to add one here, and I did like the way you will not give a command to master under any circumstances. You must express your needs in the form of a respectful question. So that is one that I'm looking to add, and I think that falls under the communication one.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. This is going too easy. Easier than I'd expected.
Well, we're going to go back to the one at the...
Okay. In public, I went out at a restaurant. You will not talk to the waiter. Again, I like that.
Uh-huh.
It may not be for the reasons it should be. Again, I like the reaction. I like the look. I like the questionable face that they have. So I would like to stick with that.
Okay.
When in public, you'll wait for master to take first bite of food. We're
It
getting rid of
has
that.
to go.
That has to go.
Because
Correct.
you
If
don't
it-
like hot food.
If it comes out extremely hot, I am not eating it.
Not just extremely hot. If it comes out like warm,
I'll
it's
eat it
still
warm.
hot.
Yeah.
It's
But
still hot to you.
Yeah.
Mine's
sensitive
got to be
teeth.
like hot.
Right. So we are taking that one out.
Perfect.
When around vanilla friends, you may address master by his given name. And I've thought on this one, and I've always liked it. we've got friends. They were your friends at first. But regardless of where they're at, and I don't think they're in a kink or any kind of
They might have
BDSM.
some kink.
They might have a little bit, but she always addresses him as Mr.
Last name.
Last name. So I do like that. I've always liked that. It's something you've never called me Mr. Raglan.
No.
So I want to change this to when around vanilla friends, you may address me as Mr. Raglan or sir. Just plain old.
We're going to have to come up with something.
Or
okay, go ahead.
We will insert husband here. Again, for your reasoning of why you do it, I don't want to take that from you. So that's the one that we was going to discuss a little further in depth.
Yeah, I'm good with that. If we're by vanilla friends or family that aren't involved.
Or out in, if we're with our community, but at a vanilla function, at a bar, at a restaurant, at a
it's
something like
really
that.
weird because I will say I picked Master Nick, but in the beginning around others, it was sometimes hard.
Right.
It sounds stupid because it was my choice, but it was also such a give up of control thing. And in the BDSM community, the understanding of that is more.
Right.
So I had a difficult time in the beginning in terms of not always being able to say it, but now it rolls off my tongue.
Well, now most of the time we're with our kink community.
And so even when our good friend was over the other day, I said Master Nick multiple times because she is vanilla, but is aware of our relationship and saying it isn't a big deal.
And she listens to our podcasts.
Because she's not kinky at all.
No.
Everybody always does that. I'm not kinky, maybe a little.
Yeah.
So my thing is calling you Master Nick isn't a problem at all in every situation now. And one of the issues with that is I will pause before addressing you when around vanilla people.
Right.
Like I have to think for a second in my head.
Right.
Not to say it, which is why I would use Nick.
Right.
Like around your parents where I'm talking about you, I'll say Nick because what wants to roll off my tongue is Master Nick.
Got it.
So, but I'm good with putting husband in there as an option at that place. It's a better placement of it.
Right. And like I said, I like the fact of, like I said, our friends, the Mr. Last name. I've always liked that.
I do too. I really find it.
But I don't know how that's so. Like you're given a situation, like my parents. If we're at my parents for a family gathering or something, how would it be presented?
At this point, it's too late.
Right. I kind of think so too.
If it started because of like we saw something, a movie or something, and it started, and then I started doing that in the beginning, and everybody looked at me. But I can call you husband. I can call you sir. I don't have a problem with sir.
Right.
I use that, yes, sir, generally. Yep. I did it the other day at the club, and I was like, I hope they weren't thinking I called them sir. Because I wasn't. It's just I work in a role and I'm dealing with people that I say sir.
And we're of the generation that shows respect. I mean, I call people sir and ma'am, So we do it more out of a respect thing because it's what we was taught. But yes, I see to your point, we are at a lifestyle club and you're calling somebody sir. How are they taking it? Right. I see what you're saying there. All right. Moving on to attire. I don't see any changes or anything, but we will keep that there.
Yes.
Everything in attire. All right. Let's move on to the sexual. And I am adding one there. You must ask master permission to masturbate. You must ask master for permission to come. I did take out and thank master afterwards. There is times that you do it. There's times that you don't. I don't see the need in having you thank me afterwards for every single time. So
Right.
I don't
Asking
need that.
is what you want.
Right. You will have to ask. Occasionally you do the thank yous, and then usually you get a thank you in return from me because I've had mine too. You will have sex when master sees fit, unless health prevents you from doing so. You'll let master know when you're not feeling well enough for sexual activity. You will always swallow master's seed. I think we can change that. You will always swallow master seeds when giving a blowjob or when he wants you to. We may change the wording in that.
Okay.
You may voluntarily bring master your collar to put on or put it on yourself if you feel your submissive masculine needs are being filled. One drawback to this, and I always pick on you for it, you've never brought me your collar. Well, I'm sitting here thinking about it. Your collar is locked up in my dom box. So that is a difficult thing for you to bring. So in this, you may voluntarily bring master your collar. It could be any collar.
Okay.
You bring me any collar at any given time and say, here, I need this. Then that's the indication. Then we'll come out. We'll get the actual play collar. It's all going to come out anyway, the cuffs and everything else. So
Okay.
It can be any collar. One that I am wanting to add, you must masturbate at least once a week. You will ask permission to masturbate. You will ask permission to come, and you will tell me what implement, whether it be your hand, a toy, a vibrator, a dildo, that you will use.
Man.
Once a week, I need you to masturbate. I need you to come at least once. You will ask permission to do both, and then you will tell me what you will be using.
I have one as well that I think needs to go here, and it's
Okay.
for you,
Okay.
not for me. So
All
we're
right.
going to go back and discuss your request on the masturbation.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm not big on masturbating, not because for any other reason than we do it well.
Mm-hmm.
Me doing it to myself has never been a big thing for me, which,
Right.
So we'll have to start pulling out toys and figuring out what works when you're using it, and then let me use it and figure it out. But I think that one of the things we need in here is that you have that I will have sex when master sees fit, unless health prevents you from doing so.
Right.
Okay. I believe that we need to put in here that instead of you will let master know when you are not feeling well enough for sexual activity. Because I think that what that happens is one of the things you're not good with is no. Like, not this no, but just in general. We've talked about it. It's like, it's kind of a big turnoff for you.
It is for most men, yes.
But I mean,
Yes.
no is going to happen. But so I think that instead of that, I think we should use the stoplight system.
I agree.
So if we take it out of yes and no, like a normal couple, and we
Right.
say red, yellow, green,
Yep.
like green, obviously we're going to have sex, but yellow or red, yellow, let's talk about
We need to
why
discuss.
I've got an issue,
Yes.
or red, no, because,
Right.
and then again, it would be talking about it. But yellow means I'm not trying to say no. I just want you to aware of a situation or
Right.
something that we need to be gentle with.
And I'm good with that.
Yeah. So if we add that, I think that'll help it take it out of the realm of I'm in control because I say no
Right.
to it is part of our BDSM world and yellow and green are the same things you hear all the time,
Right.
and you're accepting of
Right.
that.
And that's in here somewhere. Yeah. We're going to add the safe words. And just to go ahead and jump ahead, the safe words are to be used more than just a scene. If,
Well,
let's go back to, you will not give me a command. You will present it in a respectful question.
do I give you commands?
There has been times
Usually.
you have, hey, go get me this. So during that time, you'll get a look.
Okay.
And that look is you need to rephrase what you just said. But also, if it is something that you feel should have been said, you could use a safe word. Yellow, here is why I've done this, or so on and so forth.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
You look really confused right now.
I am. I think that if we're using safe words in other situations, I'm having a hard time. So earlier today, I'm having a rough day.
Yes, you are.
Physically, I'm hurting. I woke up, I immediately knocked something on the floor and started crying. Your response is, that's not anything to cry about. Not the best response to somebody who's already crying.
Well, I just said it's okay. There's no need to cry.
No, you said that's not something worth, it's not worth crying over. But I was already crying, so that's not comfortable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It would be better that, oh my God, that sucks. Let me clean it up.
Which I was cleaning
No,
up when
you
I
were
said it.
100% cleaning it up, but your response felt like hurtful to me.
No, what I said was, it's okay. No need to cry, while I was cleaning it up. And then I found out you're hurting.
Right. You didn't know anything.
You've dropped multiple shit throughout the day. And then I got that.
Right.
But
you're not listening to me. Yellow.
Okay.
The way you said it hurt me.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how you meant to say it. Right? So it's sometimes hard because we communicate different. I'm a girl. I'd have been like, oh my God, it's totally okay. Just take a break. You're fine. It's good. But the way things are said sometimes hurts me more because there's no need to cry over that. And again, it was probably just the way that you worded it because you're thinking in your head, it's no big deal. Because it wasn't. It wasn't a full cup of coffee. It was just a little spill. You cleaned it up for me. I didn't have to touch it. You did wonderful. The way that things are said sometimes. So I'm thinking in my head, that's a time I would have been like, yellow. What I needed was a big hug. It would have gotten cleaned up and I would have been fine. But you never once, ever, you rarely, if ever, give me a hug when I'm crying.
Okay.
And it's probably my fault, right? Because if I'm crying because I'm frustrated or not crying because I'm upset because something hurts, but if I'm crying because I'm frustrated because I dropped something or I spilled some, I get standoffish.
You're usually very tense, and yes.
So, but that's the kind of time that I would use it, and would it make sense to you? Would you take it the right way?
If you had said yellow in there, then I would have, okay, what's going on? I mean, my important part was because I remember the last time you spilled coffee, you freaked out because it was a lot and you was afraid it went through our floor and into our basement.
Yep.
There was a big puddle.
Yes.
And it was
a full cup of coffee.
And there just now. It was less than half a cup, but there was a big puddle.
Uh-huh.
It was a big enough puddle that it was running and flowing and finding the cracks. So I wanted to stop it before it did take a chance on getting through the floor or any of that, which is why I was focused on stopping and cleaning it up. I thought you was crying because you had spilt the coffee, and I was just saying,
I'm hurting.
It's okay. There's no need to cry over this.
Yeah, but you don't use that tone, baby. I'm like, Master Nick, I'm just saying.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just your response to things at the time it's happening sounds gruff, even when it's not meant to. But that's when I would use it, because if I'm crying, how often do I cry?
Not very often.
Not very often. I mean, it's just not, I mean, I get upset, or I get angry, or I get frustrated, but when I cry, it's not that often.
Right.
And it's usually because I'm hurting, or my body hurts, or I've got a headache, or something is going on.
Right. Okay.
So I think that is something that we're going to have to talk more about offline, so that we can figure out the appropriate times to use safe words or to communicate to you. Because if you want that, so we put this away because having that level of control means I'm giving up that level of control.
Right.
So it's not that you are taking it, I'm agreeing to it and giving up that level of control on things. Which is why your part is very clear that if I'm giving up this control to you, then you have to be in control.
Yep.
And I need that from you. It can't be halfway. If I'm following the rules, then this is what we're doing, and I need some different behaviors than I would in a normal relationship. Does that make sense? Not like when we're out at the club or whatever. Those things go smooth. We don't have issues. We know how to communicate. But if I'm going to ask you a question instead of directing you to do something, I need to know that you're listening to me and hearing hearing what I mean. And I feel like sometimes that's where we have a problem. It's not your fault. It's just I communicate a certain way and you're hearing it a different way. Neither of us are saying anything wrong, but that's the part of communication that we would have to amp up in a contract.
Yeah.
Okay. Please follow, like, and share our podcast.
Make sure to visit thedomlife.com, where you can find pictures and other details about the Dom Life podcast. And through the Contact Us button, you can ask questions or provide recommendations for future episodes.
We want to explore your kink too.
Be sure to check out upcoming events to see where our adventures are taking us, and our photo gallery to where we've been.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you had fun listening and learning with us.
Till next time, keep calm and remember your safe word.
Red, red, red.